It's unbelievable.
You know, and they're still there probably.
Yeah.
You know.
And you were saying gritty. You were saying how master tapes were actually in the hallway of the studio, right? I mean,
yes.
Were you telling me that?
Yeah, in the hallway. There's all the 24 tracks. They're quite big, you know. They're quite thick, and written in Sharpie on the edges. You know, Ann Peebles, "I Can't Stand the Rain," for instance.
Wow.
I'm like, is that the actual master for that? Yeah. They said, oh yeah. She recorded that song here, the whole album, and then they stopped and they said, we played on it. I was like, what? Can we do that track? You know, they said, yeah. And we did a version.
Just the fact that they can play it back, you know, that they have those machines,
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So as I was going through notes prepping for this interview, and I stumbled upon the fact that the two of you most recent recordings are cover collections, the McCartney tribute album, and I stumbled upon this news report a couple of weeks ago, before obviously coming down here, a doting grandfather on the Phoenix News. Alice Cooper here, his son Dash and his wife Morgan just had twin boys, Riot and Falcon.
Falcon and Riot.
And then the other day...
I had nothing to do with them naming the kids, I swear.
And then the other day I'm walking through the Windjammer and I run into Paul's wife Cynthia, and she's got this little tot with her, and I said, well, who's this? And she goes, that's my grandson, Bodie. It's Paul's grandson, obviously, and the son of his son Steve, who is also performing tonight. So congratulations to you two.
Congratulations, Granddad.
Congratulations, yeah. The funny thing is, we decided that we couldn't be Grandma and Granddad. So we took the Hawaiian names, because the kids were basically between Phoenix and Hawaii. That's where they grew up. And so we found out that the Hawaiian name for Grandma is Tutu. Okay, well, my wife teaches ballet, so it's perfect. Unfortunately, the grandfather name is Cuckoo. So I'm Cuckoo Cooper, and you're Cuckoo Rodgers. So. How appropriate, though.
Well, I thought it was a great piece, and you got to check it out. It's on. You'll find it on YouTube.
Hey, Mick Jagger's a great grandfather. He's always one-up us, doesn't he? He's always right there ahead of us.
Done that, hey?
Yeah.
That's true, he is. So many things to talk about. Just received some honors, the two of you. Paul, Paul Rodgers, in addition to a tremendous solo career, which you all know, and of course we all know Bad Company, Free, The Firm, The Law. At the recent BMI Awards, that's for airplay, radio airplay, back here back up in the States. 5 Million Performance Award for All Right Now.
Good Lord. Thank you. Amazing. It amazes me, actually. It really does. Yeah, it's fantastic, because when we were back in the day when we were writing all those songs, we had no idea that they'd have the longevity that they do, and I can't really explain what it is, except that maybe it's the simplicity of the songs that people can still identify with.
And had great holes in it. You know,
yeah.
Great songs got great holes in it where it makes it move.
Yeah.
It's what you don't play.
That's right. That's very important. Yes.
But you've got to clear something up for me. When that song came out, they had a hard time getting it played because they thought it said, we got to move before they raise the
effing rent.
Yeah. Okay.
It was strange.
And what's the real lyrics?
Well, actually, you know, what happened then, the BBC, they called up and they said, we want to play this record, but we don't like the language on it. And we said, well, what language? Well, the use of the F word. And I completely didn't understand what they were talking about. So we said, there's no language on it at all. And they said, well, you need to prove that to us. So they came down to the studio, we put the 24-track master up, and we took every track down but the vocal. And it said, let's move before they raise the parking rate. You see, and they thought it was the effing rent. That's what
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
I know.
I went, wow.
Wow.
I blushed. But the record was so good you couldn't not play it. I mean, the record was such a great record that you couldn't not play it. So they started bleeping that word.
Oh, that's really weird. How strange.
Oh, they raised the beep rent, and I went, huh?
The beeping rent?
Yeah.
Oh, the parking rate. Funnily enough, I mean, the parking rate's still going up, so it's still...
You know, here's the thing. In America, there's no such thing as a parking rate.
Oh,
So that's why nobody understood what that meant.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
There is in New York.
Yeah, there is.
Says a New Yorker. Yeah.
And for you, Grammy Hall of Fame, school's out. Congratulations.
We had no idea that that was going to be the national anthem. It's just one of those songs, you know, I think everybody has one song that they'll be associated with forever. I don't care how many songs, great songs the Stones write, Satisfaction will always be the Stones song. You know, School's Out will always be my song. My Generation will always be the Who song. You know what I mean? I think that last one will always be your song, because that was just the...
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, but
right.
that's the one song that gets associated with you. And on that song, we were trying to, as hard as we could, to be the Yardbirds on that song. Bob Ezrin wouldn't let us. But if you notice that at the end, there's that dun, 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 that bolero thing going on. It's pure Yardbirds.
Yeah. The Yardbirds, I saw them in the very early days in a place called Stockton, very close to my hometown in Middlesbrough. And they had this weird thing where, and no other band has done it before or since, where everyone hit the downstroke and they went for it. Instead of like dun dun dun, they went dun 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 dun.
The Rave Up.
And they would, yeah, they would really build it.
The Rave Up. That was an album called Rave Up. And they would do that in almost every song where they would get to the...
Yeah.
It was like winding up a spring and letting it go. You know, really. What other band had Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton as their lead guitar players?
Yeah.
It's not too bad. Pretty good. If you're gonna have a guitar player, you might as well have one of those guys, you know. How about having all three of them in the band? And their songs were so different from anybody else's. I mean, you know, all of their hits were not like the Rolling Stones, they were not like the Kinks, were not like the Hollies. It had its own sort of futuristic sound to it.
Very much so,
Yeah.
Well, on the Arms tour, we did a thing called the Arms tour, and you had those three guys together on stage for really the first time.
Wow.
Because they kind of, can I say this? They sort of did compete with each other. I mean, they're brothers in arms and all the rest of it, but there was a sense of competition there. And they wouldn't play together on stage. They were a bit sort of like, well, I'm not playing with him. And a bit like that. So
Yeah,
actually, on the Arms tour, they did get on stage together, and
At the end.
that was unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, there was one record that Beck and Page played on. It was on Happenings 10 Years Time Ago, where they both played lead on it. And I think at that point they realized there were too many chefs, you know, in one room. But I did an interview with Jeff Beck for my radio show, and I said, Jeff, this is the way I look at it. Eric Clapton, probably the best blues rock guitar player. Jimmy Page, probably the best rock and roll guitar player. Jeff Beck, probably the best guitar player. And he went, I'll go with that.
I'll go with that, for sure. Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, I had, do we call ourselves cruisers? I don't know, is that the proper term? But I had the fans here send in a whole bunch of questions, and I've been going over them the last few weeks.
We've already said no math, okay?
No math. But this question actually didn't come in via email. It came in, I was stopped the other day by a young lady right over there. Her name is Kathy, she's from Orlando. Alice, this is for you.
Okay.
I'm going to try to jog your memory here. She said she first saw you on the Virginia Graham show. She goes, I am surprised. Her grandmother used to watch it, and her grandmother was watching it. You were on the show. She called Kathy in to watch it with her, and since that day, Kathy has been hooked on you and has just loved you ever since. She wants to know where she can find that clip. Is it even exist anymore? Do you remember that experience?
I used to go out of my way, when Ellis was the scourge of the planet, I used to go out of my way to put Alice in places he didn't belong. Hollywood Squares. I mean, I did not belong on that show. Virginia Graham show was like, you know, like a mid-morning housewife show where they're ironing and going. It was like springtime for Hitler, you know. It was, so I loved doing shows like that, where you just inject yourself into a place where you just did not belong. You know, that was more effective doing that than in rock and roll, because in rock and roll, you sort of did belong. You were an outlaw, but you kind of expected the next outlaw to come out and the next villain or whoever it was. Never on the Virginia Graham show. That would be like so wrong to be on that. But good, it affected you. And you turned out fine, apparently. Of course, jury's out on that.
And Paul, another question that came in for you a lot was your voice. You have maintained it so well, and people wanted to know, what's your secret? You know?
Thank you. Thank you. So much. That's a very nice question. I think in a way I'm blessed, you know, it is a gift. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand that, you know, but you know, like when you're young, you kind of abuse yourself a lot, a bit too much booze and all the rest of it, stuff like that. No, I don't. You know nothing about this. When you grow up, you know. But yeah, but I mean, I did come to the conclusion that I've got to look after myself if my voice is gonna, you know, remain with me. And my voice is really who I am. It's what I do and everything. So I decided I would sort of take care of myself and be healthy, and that's the idea. I think I have to be as healthy as I can all the time. So that's what I do.
You know, when we did the thing, the rock and roll symphony, British symphony thing,
yeah,
we used to call him the Voice.
Oh no.
But all the guys, they say, "Where's the Voice?" We're at breakfast and going, "Where's the Voice?" He's on his way. Because if you think of it, he's the most versatile. How many guys can join Queen? I mean, come on. You know, that's a very specific kind of singing to be able to play in Queen, and then also be in Bad Company, and to be in, you know, blues rock, and then go to this kind of almost operatic rock.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, thanks, Alice. You know, in a way, it was a bit. My thinking was a little bit in the way that you were doing, when you were putting yourself in places that you really didn't belong. When they first called me up and asked me, you know, if you'd like to do a couple of shows with us just for fun, my first reaction was, oof. I don't know about that, you know.
Freddie Mercury's a hard act to follow.
But then, you know, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I thought, but then I thought, well, heck, why not? You know, what a challenge that is, yeah. You know. So we did a couple of shows, and it developed into, actually, we were together for 4 years. We went all around the world twice, and we went to places I had never even dreamed, I didn't even know they existed, you know, places like Latvia and stuff. I mean, I couldn't point to that on the map, to be honest with you. Sure. But the president of Latvia came out, or the prime minister, and he played drums on All Right Now. So, and thousands of people turned out, and I said to Spike, the keeper, I said, when we tell the folks back home, you know. And it was an incredible, exciting trip, actually, through all of those countries.
And they're such good musicians. Brian May is one of the great guitar players.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, he is. And they did fantastic versions of Feel Like Making Love, Wishing Well, All Right Now.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was you know, we shared our repertoire together. It was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually another question. Well, how you came to do it, you told us that. But now, in hindsight, you were pleased with it. And actually, what do you forget in hindsight, because you kind of did just mention that. What do you think now about Adam Lambert singing with them?
You know, I haven't really checked it out, to be honest. When I moved on, I sort of moved away from it. So I don't really know. I mean, I wish them every success in what they do. Before we got together, they hadn't really toured since Freddie. They'd done the odd big gig with lots of different singers, but they hadn't actually been able to put a band together that could actually tour. Together, we did that. We actually, and they found out that they could do this thing, tour.
Well, that's got to be frustrating for a band as good as Queen, when you lose your lead singer and you know you still want to tour.
Yeah.
You still have all those great songs.
Yeah.
It was like the Doors, the same thing with the Doors. With,
absolutely.
You know, losing Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
You've got guys that are viable, and they know they have all these songs.
Yeah.
They just don't have the guy up front to do it.
Yeah. And you know, the fans, they were unbelievable. There was no question of, oh, well, you're not Freddie, you can't be here. They were really happy to see the band with the final jigsaw piece in in the play, you know, functioning and delivering these great songs. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the first time I saw Adam Lambert on American Idol, and you're not going to believe this, but I went, that guy should sing for Queen.
Wow.
Because I said he's perfect for it. He's got the range.
The look.
You know, he's got the look. Put it that way. And
What was that? I missed that.
the look.
Not that there's anything wrong with this.
The look. The attitude. And then I heard him actually do a jam session with Queen where he did We Are the Champions and Bohemian Rhapsody, and he did it dead on. But he did it like Freddie. He didn't do it like when you would take the song and interpret it, the way you would do it. He did it like Freddie, and he did it pretty close.
Yeah.
So it really did work on that thing. But I was surprised that when they got him, I went, ah, that wasn't for me.
All right, Alice, back to you now. You know, your stage shows are very theatrical. This comes from, her name is Marcia Marion. She wants to know, have you ever thought of now taking your show, basing a Broadway show on your stage presentation? That seems to be, a lot of artists are moving in that direction. I know this is something, if my memory's right, you actually looked into many, many years ago.
Well, there was talk of doing a Broadway play, and it had all this, the love story between Cheryl and I. We've been married 39 years, and she started as a little 18-year-old ballerina, and you have a long marriage too. That's right. And they gave me this big story. And I said, guys, it's already written. It's called Welcome to My Nightmare. The show was a Broadway show. I said, the songs are all there. It's already choreographed. It's written. We can update it. And then we take whatever songs are left and do an encore at the end for an hour, But it's already written. Because Welcome to My Nightmare was basically a Broadway show. I mean, it was directed by, David Winters, who was in West Side Story, did the choreography on it. Everybody that worked on that show was from Broadway. So we were doing that in 1975, 76. The audience didn't know it was a Broadway show, but it was a full Broadway show. So I said, it's already written. All we have to do is adapt it to the stage. So, they'll probably wait till I die and then put it out, Adam Lambert will play me. Or Ellen DeGeneres.
It's a risky proposition. I mean, so many of them try it and fail. I mean,
well, and Sting's project, The Last Ship. From what I understand, it was terrific. It just if you don't grab that one thing that everybody wants to see, then I don't know if you're going to get that. And when I saw Tommy, when Tommy came out, it was a bit early because they had to water it down. And they realized that most of the people that come to Broadway are from Iowa or Nebraska or somewhere, and they don't like all that loud music. Well, think of it. If you're 70 years old, you were a Rolling Stones fan. Now, you weren't a Sinatra fan. You were a Beatles, Rolling Stones fan. So now you could get away with doing a Broadway show, a real Broadway show with real rock. So now maybe it might be a better time to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Jersey Boys is the only one that has continued to survive.
A Green Day's thing did pretty well.
It did pretty good for a while.
Yeah, but didn't have that lasting thing. You need something you need a story there that's going to make people want to keep coming back. West Side Story was a love story. It was Romeo and Juliet, with gangs. That's really what it was.
Yeah. And Paul, one of the questions here for you. This comes from Billy Jack Gann of El Rico, Florida. Strangest thing that's ever happened to you on stage, seeing as how you have performed solo for so many years and have been in so many bands, something must have happened somewhere along the line that you felt was very strange. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, we talked about Queen earlier. One of the things we did together was the song Bad Company. We decided we were going to present this Queen style, I guess. So the piano was going to come up through the stage like this, or just appear in mist and smoke and lasers. And I would start playing it down below. And so while they were like moving the piano onto this piece of stage below the stage, there was a great big hole in the stage. Everybody had express warnings: do not step off into the hole, because it's like it's very high.
Yeah.
It's like, you know. And so I'm down there, I'm playing, dang, dang, dang. The smoke's going out. I can look up and I can see the arena and the lights and everything. And we're coming up, and I'm just, and I look up, and there.